Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So what? On Sunday, you'd rather go to the beach?
No, chill at home, read a book. The beach is dope Sunday mornings, but that's once in a while. But most Sundays, I spend my time reading.
Reading.
Or going over, or writing, whichever.
How long have you been doing this?
Growing up, it wasn't exactly like that because my parents would say go to church. But then they were also very liberal with your religion. But then as I became an adult and I was no longer Christian, it became a thing.
No longer Christian.
Actually,
I mean, as for me, when I was growing up, if you don't go to church, no rice and chicken. And you know, my grandmother's rice and chicken on Sundays were special. You had to go to church. What do you think of this? What would you tell Akosia? Like, seriously, on a Sunday,
you have a whole week to read. I mean, why don't you go to church on Sunday morning and choose any other day to read?
Because I'm a Christian, and if you think about it, I'm writing Sunday mornings. That's my talent, that's my art. And for me, that's how I'm praying and meditating, because I'm being my total self and exploring my, so that's how I get my kick, my spirituality, because I'm exploring myself,
Are you Christian?
Through those. No, I'm not Christian.
No, you're not Christian.
So you see, she said that's where she gets her spirituality. So what? Yeah. Spirituality and religion, why do, what's the difference, really? I don't understand. Okay. Isn't it the same thing?
No.
No, she said. Let me put it this way. I want to say that, so religion is like the map, right? And the spirituality is the route or the journey that you take as an individual to seek a higher or a supernatural God for yourself. So you can belong to a church and not be spiritual, right? And that's wrong. Personally, I feel that you shouldn't just be religious or, also geared to the other side where you're just spiritual. You can marry the two.
Yeah, but how am I going to marry the two? I wake up, I'm spiritual. Okay. Example, I wake up in the morning and I pray. I mean, why would I have to go to church in order to pray? I can pray anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? Or what are the benefits, let me say, in being within a religious group? Because if it's praying, if it's everything else, meditation, I'm getting that as an individual wherever I am. It could be at the beach or in my bedroom reading a book, right? So why is that important? I don't get it.
Okay, I mean, I guess from what she's saying, religion is like the map. So religion gives you a code of ethics. So it goes beyond just your personal, it goes into your everyday life, how you should relate with people, how you should dress, how
That's
you
religion?
should marry. Yeah, religion adds a code of ethics, which is why they'll tell you, for instance, some people will interpret their spirituality as saying that, that's why gay people can be gay people, because this is a code of ethics. I feel it's not spirituality, I feel it's like the rule of a religion. The rule of a religion, you cannot kill, you cannot steal, you cannot, it just gives you a code of ethics. But I feel like spirituality kind of does that. When I say spirituality, I mean, for instance, you're totally understanding yourself, your being in yourself, your soul, and your connection to the universe. So if you understand that I'm not the most important thing, I'm part of this universe, this earth that's revolving around, and the many universes that probably exist, you would understand that I should treat this other person as important. I should treat the tree as important. I should treat the lagoon, the lake. Yeah, but
you're saying that code of ethics is like the map, right? The religion is the map.
Yeah.
So, but then what's happening now lately is there's a lot more people killing. Recently, there's suicide. So really, where is the code of ethics? Really, because if religion is supposed to do that for us, then are we missing the point?
So you can have a map, right? But it depends on you. What do you do with a map? You see, we can have churches all over, and as you said, suicide is still going on. The church has a role to play, and if you belong to a church and you want to have all the benefits, you have to put yourself in it. You don't just get up and go to church because everybody's going to church. Otherwise, there'll be no renewal of your mind. Okay. It's an individual thing as well. But let me ask you, you can still think everybody's important and still have religion
Oh,
as
yes,
well
yes,
as
yes,
spirituality?
most
Why do you choose just
What-
one?
Before you even, no, wait,
Yeah.
Okay.
there's something you said. If you don't put yourself in it, in a religion, like I don't understand. If you don't put yourself in the map,
I'm born to Christian parents, right? And because my mom wants, well, because I want grandma's rights and she, I'll just go to church.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where there's something defines you, something happens to you, and you start asking questions, right? Now, when you get to that point, you shouldn't just go to church for going to church sake.
but isn't that
Otherwise, you're
spirituality?
wasting
Because
your
when
time.
something does that to you, spirituality. It's
I
like
know,
something.
but personally, I feel you should marry the two. So that's spirituality, and you're also part of a religion. But to benefit from it, you have to. The Bible says, "Can I quote the Bible?" Right?
Quote the Bible. Feel
In
free.
Hebrews chapter 10, the Bible says, "Don't forsake the gathering of the brethren," because there's something about people coming together, believing one thing, sharing testimonies, praising God together. There's something that does for me. If you don't get it, I can't teach you, because it's like a revelation. You can't teach revelation. You catch revelation. So we can all sit under
So what if
somebody
I'm in the church?
speaking.
What if I go to an institution, an organized religious institution, and I don't catch it? Then I'll just be going to church and I'll put myself into it,
Yes, yeah.
and then I won't benefit. Because
Exactly.
is that what
So
you're saying?
anything worth doing is worth doing well. You're either in there, or you're not.
But you're saying that you don't teach somebody. The revelation is something you feel. Something must happen. You catch. Something must happen before you decide that you want to probably join an institution. Or when you join it, something has to happen before you would benefit it. I'm confused.
So for instance, we can all go to church today, right?
Yeah.
And the man of God preaches a sermon on success or forgiveness or something.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just there, I'm not there, right? But you are there because you have a similar situation or you think it applies to you. And just then something hits, something clicks. Oh my God, I can really apply this to my life. At that time, you are in there. So you can spend your whole life going to church without really getting any revelation. If your spirit hasn't merged with the beliefs of that institution, the religion. I don't know if I'm
If
still
your spirit
making sense.
hasn't merged.
Kind of
yourself.
believe in it. If you don't, I mean, that's why you have churchgoers, but not exactly Christians. In a
Yeah, but
sense.
we're missing the code of ethics.
The code of
here,
ethics, yeah.
Because the institution is supposed to do that. It's supposed to give us the rules to abide by. But are we even doing that?
I think it's even the problem I have to say with religion and the code of ethics part is the code of ethics is often interpreted for you. So it's like you have the religious book, if it's the Quran, if it's the Bible, if it's the Torah, whatever. And then the person who's interpreting it, with Christianity, it's a pastor, man or woman of God, or if it's Quran is the imam. And they will tell you, okay, so according to this is the rule and the rules you have to live by. And this is something that's really close to my heart, the interpretation of the creation story, right? And Eve was the one who brought the fruit, and because of that has actually been a source for people to continue misogyny and oppression of women, because women are seen as the harbingers of sin, the sexual devils, just because of how it's been interpreted to them.
Maybe
So
is
that's
that the way
my
you
problem.
understood it? Because somebody else would say that, okay, the story of Eve, it's probably not just to taint a woman in that light, but then obviously
How else would you interpret that? She brought the thing to the man. So
I mean,
it's
since Jesus
problematic
Christ
to me.
came, I mean, Jesus came to,
Clear all of that.
clear everything. There's grace, which is which abounds to everybody. So it's not because you're a woman, you feel Eve gave the apple, so you are, you brought all the trouble. The grace is sufficient.
So what happens?
But you can abide by the Constitution and by the rules and regulations of
and
driving.
that can be problematic too, because
But-
rules always is whoever is interpreting it.
So what, Jesus Christ came and then all these things are supposed to just be wiped off?
Yeah, like
I
he
mean-
came to bring a new wholesomeness. Love your neighbor as yourself. That philosophy, and I think that's the most powerful philosophy anyway.
And it still doesn't work for you, right?
No, it does. I recognize to you, I'm saying, me being spiritual and understanding that I'm a part of this universe and so I should understand the worth of everyone, it encapsulates in love your neighbor as yourself. But that actually didn't even necessarily start with Jesus Christ. It goes back all the way to even Africa. And when we had Kemet, which is what we call Egypt today, land of the black people, these kind of thoughts, these philosophies have been there. You know what I'm saying? So understand the universality of humanity,
Yeah.
rather than, oh, my religion says this and this is what all of you have to do, and if you don't do it this way, you are going to go to hell, you're going to go to heaven.
So this is why Christianity is not important to you, because
it's someone interpreting, and for years people have used religion to systematically oppress people, oppress the world. Do
you agree?
You don't think it's liberating?
Liberating to oppress people?
No, I mean Christianity. You don't feel is liberating?
I feel it's supposed to be, but it's but as I said, it just goes back to who have been the gatekeepers of the religion for the longest time. Even the putting together of the Bible was done by people, people not even on the shores of Africa. And me, I always start with Africa because there's been a systemic way to try to oppress Africans, and they use that. You know what I'm saying? So it's.
But we're talking Christianity here. I'm just trying.
Even if you go to Islam, just see the ISIS, Boko Haram. I don't even call them Muslims but they are using what they say is religious scripts and are interpreting. So that's an example.
They use the code of ethics. Actually,
the code of ethics.
Yeah.
So they'll point out to parts in the Quran that will say Sharia. This is what has to happen. This Sharia law, blah blah blah. And that's a problem.
So could it be that we're not as religious groups are not preaching love, but they're preaching law? I mean, could that also be? Yeah, could it also be?
I feel it depends on where you find yourself, because what you're saying is based on your experience in your church.
Oh, general experiences. Not my experience, not my church. I wasn't alive when
but this Christianity thing is a personal journey.
What is wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
What is wrong with you?
Cheers. Okay, I'll shut up. I'm grabbing this and I'll shut up.
So yeah, maybe somebody's just preaching law and not love. I'm not there. Let me not speak for them. But generally, Christianity should be liberating. I mean, it shouldn't be judgmental. However, I cannot sit here and say that some churches haven't been judgmental because we're human, and that has nothing to do with the fact that they're Christians or Muslims. It's our human nature that makes people, take advantage of people.
That's
using
my problem.
So that's
it's
our human nature. It's
not
not
nature.
about.
But that's what spirituality tells me. That is not human nature.
So you're
human
saying
nature innately, totally understands its part in the. I keep repeating this part in the universe. Those feelings of I want to take advantage of this person. I want to. That's not human nature at all.
So
that's.
let me not use human nature. I'm trying to say that it cuts across. It's not necessarily because somebody is Christian and they decide to.
Yeah, everybody.
It's supposed to be liberating. But if I'm a Christian and I don't make it liberating, I shouldn't blame Christianity. I should blame myself.
Do you know something, Rosemond? Aren't Christians like the harshest judgmental people out there? I mean, I get that a lot.
It's sad.
For me, especially.
It's sad.
Even in the church. There was a time I sat next to a lady who had a son, and the son kept coming to me and, touching my knees and playing with me and holding my, and I turned and I see this lady like cleaning the son's hands, don't touch. Yes, in the church.
Why?
I don't know, and even what you're wearing. I mean, there was a time I wore a certain dress, was like asymmetrical, and then I was told that I can't wear this I can't sit in the front because I was wearing that, or maybe my dress was too short. And in fact, I was given announcements, but I was actually warned that I won't go up there if I wear that dress again. I mean, really, isn't Christ? Isn't Christ? We shouldn't judge by the outward appearance. You know what I mean? I am 120% Christian. I was brought up and raised that way, and I go to church every day. But I have certain little issues, and that's why I'm saying that are we just preaching law and not love? Because really, if I come as I am, I came from work in the night, excuse me to say, as a prostitute, and I couldn't go back home to go and change, and I come into church wearing what I wore to work last night. Are you going to tell me that you're not going to sit next to me? Exactly.
I understand you, but then again, it depends on where you find yourself.
But shouldn't it be a general?
It should be, but.
So then that's the problem if you institutionalize a spirituality, which is what has happened with Christianity and Islam.
Yeah.
Once you institutionalize it, you're going to have people who are gatekeepers. You're going to have people who are going to set laws. You're going to have people saying she can't wear what she's wearing because... And so that's a problem. And what makes Christianity a big thing? We are talking Christianity more because in Ghana, at least between us, Christianity is most common to us. What happens is, I mean, you have these mega churches, mega pastors who are celebrities and family counselors. At the same time, they are
prophets.
Prophet, and it cuts. And sometimes it just gets problematic. I mean, if you are even just talking about issues of rape, for instance, or even rape. If you're talking about, let's go and see a counselor, most often in Ghana is a religious counselor. And I found what usually happens, which is actually a rape culture, is you're told, forgive, because all of those things.
Because that's love. That's where we. You see, that's another thing. Because we're complaining that the church is actually preaching law and not love, but then that's love. You forgive. You forgive
your rapist. You forgive your rapist.
You should.
But then you let him walk. That's another problem.
Bit. I mean,
but that's
if somebody rapes somebody, the law should actually
marital rape. I know several cases. People have gone to see a religious counselor. My husband is raping me. What happens is, what are you doing? They ask her, what are you doing or what are you not doing? That is the first question. This is a religious counselor, and then afterwards, you should forgive, forget.
This is what I'm saying. Isn't that individualistic? Where you find yourself, because
no, it's not necessarily individualistic because this is a common trend across the world and not just in Ghana. With religious counseling.
Lady Prempa, you tell us. we are not giving you the chance to begin.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It's all right. Forgive me.
With my situation, for instance, with what happened in church, if it was someone like Akosia who probably would not go to church because of the institution, the idea of institutionalized sort of fellowship or whatever it is. If she was one who was in my shoes, I'm sure that she'll walk out and not come back to the church. You understand what I'm saying? But because I'm a member of the church, I go back.
Why do you have to take that is my question. Why?
You know, the funny thing is, I haven't even asked myself that question before. But then I'm thinking, I'm not looking at them.
Exactly.
It's my personal relationship with God, okay? And I guess my level of comfort and I guess the level of spirituality as well. Because like Lady Prempa said, fellowship with the brethren, like-minded people coming together and praying towards something, you understand? Or praying to something. So for me, I choose to ignore things like that because it's my personal relationship with Christ that allows me that moves me to go back.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
And let me add that people, some people in churches have failed to realize that this thing called Christianity, the walk with God, right? It's not your effort necessarily. That's why the grace abounds. Even in Ephesians, it says that you can't work hard, and say that, it's me, it's because I'm spiritual, it's because, no. I feel that every church should have open arms for everybody, not be judgmental. Receive everyone with love. However, it doesn't mean that we should not obey the laws, but the grace helps us.
The laws which are?
Don't commit adultery, forgive each other. Jesus said, forgive your neighbor 77 times, 7 times.
And my dressing is part of the law?
No, I'm saying that. No, I'm saying that you can do all of that without being judgmental to somebody's dressing. Because as you said, what has the dressing got to do with the law? Yeah. However, you get to a stage where you feel this is inappropriate for a church setting. Even that, the person coming to church every day and listening to the word will feel that, you know what, I have a certain body, and if I wear very short dresses, there are men in the church. I mean, somebody would say that, it doesn't matter. I mean, you should be able to control yourself. But have you also thought about the fact that you could actually be a distraction to somebody?
Okay.
No.
And so you get to that point where you feel like, you know what, because I'm a very caring person, right? Sometimes I wear something, I'm going to church, and I change it. Not because somebody will judge me, but because I feel like, you know what, I sit in the front, I'm going to distract somebody who had just walked into the church. Mind you, don't assume that everybody is at a certain level. Somebody is just, really struggling with fornication or struggling with lust and all of that, and comes to church and sees your body, Really? So there's a way you can balance it.
So why are you shaking your head?
If you come to church, right, if you came to my church and I was wearing something here and everything was there, what would you...
But
I wouldn't even feel comfortable. I lift my hands and it's... So
but that's the same argument really that about rapists who say that, because your dress was very short, that's why I raped you.
That's not an excuse.
It's the same thing.
However, if you feel that rapists cannot be controlled and you are going to a place where you feel you're going to be vulnerable. Just dress decently.
This is
It's
all.
like
That's
saying
all.
that-
That's all I have.
It's like
I'm a
saying
night
that you
worker.
will not lock your doors because the thief should not come to your house.
But that's all I
Steal.
have.
But I'm saying that
Lady
you're a
Pembe.
night worker. You walk in. I should not be judgmental.
So why don't you give me something? Cover me up.
This is what I'm
Right?
saying. Why are we
Instead
covering
of
you
you-
up? Why are we covering you up? Because it's not appropriate.
If
or
you
what?
think if it's not appropriate, then don't judge me based on that. You understand what I'm saying? If that's all I
Should I
have,
ask a question, Jocelyn?
Ask
Do you
me.
think every outfit is okay for everywhere? Let's be very realistic. Do you think even going for interviews, every outfit is okay for everywhere?
going to obviously not.
Yeah.
I could say
There's-
one.
okay. So there's
She's like itching.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
sit on me.
It's because so our current Minister for Gender is actually gone under serious
knew we would get
backlash
there.
for comments about
Wearing
the
short dresses,
distraction, and that's rape culture 101. Don't ever
Blame it on
the victim. Don't ever, especially whenever that kind of language that, oh, what I'll wear will distract someone. I honestly feel even the church should be the space where I know that everyone is being spiritual, so I can enter and be myself, whether I'm in short shorts, rather than when I go walking across Accra mid shorts with short shorts. You know, I feel like actually the church should be the space where I feel freer and I'm not worried about
Are
distracting
you saying that the people
someone.
in the church are different from the people working in Accra?
No. I feel, do you know why? Because the church for a specific purpose, which is to worship God, which is to fellowship. So because of where your mind is,
Maybe my
why
mind is not
should-
there. I just happen to be in church.
then you are the problem, not me who is dressing the way
That's
I'm
why I
dressing.
shouldn't judge
Exactly.
you.
You know what
I'm
I'm
just
saying?
saying that I do not want us to also say everything is appropriate for everywhere.
No, that's not what we are saying. We are
that-
just.
I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
okay to say that if I wear something short and I get raped, it's my fault. But Jocelyn, if you
No.
have a girl growing up, right? Do you always say yes to whatever that girl she wears? Let's be
No.
very real.
depends
Why? Why
on
do you
where
say
she's
no?
going.
Yeah, but
Why
that's
do you say
because
no?
because I've been put in charge of her to look after her,
okay.
to nurture her into.
And you feel
into
if she
growing
wears
to-
certain things, what would happen?
That should be raped.
No, I don't think my mind never goes there. To be
So
honest,
why you not letting
I
her
would not let her
everything?
wear things because even Paul in the Bible says when I was a child, I thought and behaved
Now
like a
that
child,
you're
and when I
an
grew up, I threw the childish ways away, and I
Okay.
started acting like an adult. So she's a child. So there's a lot of things that she do
You
as a
give
child,
rules, yeah.
and I'm there to direct that path.
So
I
somebody
can't
saying
I
that
can't,
do not
I
wear
can't even
short,
impose it.
It's an advice. That
Some parents
do
may not have a
wear
problem with
short
that.
dresses, so you don't get raped. I don't want us to put it like if you wear short
Look,
dresses and you get
Lady
raped, it's
Pembe,
your fault. It's not your
Lady
fault.
Pembe,
But when you put
some
it,
parents don't have a
wear
problem.
short dresses so you do not get raped. That's what it sounds
Yeah, but
like.
you know some
But
parents,
this is what
if I'm a
some
rapist, some parents don't have any issues with their kids wearing inappropriate clothes. Because some of the kids come out, they come from home, and I see them like, do you even have parents? Like,
Why do you
first
say
of all,
that?
because that's
the
me.
parents should be there to guide, right?
That's my principle. You understand what I'm saying?
But
So at the end of the
so
day,
what's wrong with
it's
what
let's-
she
but
said?
that
Let's
shouldn't
move
be
to an adult
that shouldn't be the
who is
general
dressed
principle
like that. Yeah.
That shouldn't be the general principle.
Yeah.
You understand? So if it's your if the person doesn't like the way
But
exactly, if
in-
the person
in your
doesn't like
case, she was
if
talking
you
about her
wear
as an
something
adult.
So
short,
I'm confused. Are we
Lady
talking
Pembe,
about what
The
the
adults.
minister said, or we're talking about somebody being
What-
judged in church?
No, in
I'm
church.
confused.
Let's
It's
go back
all-
to the
it's all
church.
part of
It's
it.
all
You should not be
but
judged.
because
in church,
the
you
thing is
shouldn't.
because if you won't wear something shorts to church and I want to wear something shorts to church, the fact that you don't wear doesn't mean that I can't do it.
So this is not what I said. I'm saying that personally, there's been days when I wear something, right? Because maybe it's a choice, really.
Yeah.
But that having said that, if you came to my church and wear something short, right, I wouldn't judge you.
But
What's the hesitation for?
yeah, like my mind, I'm here to
judging.
connect with my greater self, connect with my God. You know, why should I be worried about distracting other people in the church? And that space particularly,
Exactly.
you know, if I'm doing that and I'm anywhere else, but this space particularly and why we are there,
It
why
should
we
be
are
the
gathered,
last- I'm saying
It should be
just
the
listen.
last place that should
That
happen.
you
I
should-
know that's
yeah,
what I'm
that
saying.
you should
I'll
feel
still receive
anything.
you, but I'm trying to get the
I'll
words
still
right,
receive
like-
you.
Because look.
Like you're flawed, but I'll receive
no,
you.
No.
Not that
Because
way.
the person who is appropriately dressed, right, might have a lot of things in their cupboard more than the one who is.
that- yeah.
I don't even believe in
Yeah.
thinking, oh, because she's wearing a long dress,
Yeah.
she's probably no.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the words. She knows
Yeah,
that.
Judgmental. I don't
you
know.
said it.
So the point we're all trying to
think-
make is
I
that
think-
nobody should be judged in church, right? That's all.
And maybe that's not the spirituality of the church, like you said. These are just the codes of ethics that actually happen when you have
the law.
a
That's what the
human
law-
institution.
Right.
Exactly.
Because
So they will tell you,
I mean,
like in school, they'll give you school uniform. These are the rules.
Exactly, I was
in the
going to say.
church,
Exactly.
these are their rules.
So, you know, the funny thing is, it's an institution, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Religious.
But it's problematic that you make something spiritual an institution, which
Well,
is my problem.
like Lady Pepper said, it's a religion. A religion, you combine, you marry both. Okay, so even though there are laws that governs every institution, even the government of Ghana, there are laws. You know what I'm saying, that we all have to abide by.
Exactly.
So if you decide that you're going to wear your bikini and walk down the street to catch a cab, chances are somebody's going to stop you and put you in there and take you to Pantai.
Because those are their laws.
Because I mean, nobody walks around in town almost naked because you're perceived as crazy. But you can do that at the beach. So there's a place and a time for everything.